All right, welcome back to Just an Introvert podcast. I am Amy,
And I'm Abbie.
and we're so excited for our episode today. This is another one of our interview series, and I'm going to let Abbie introduce her guest real quick, and then we'll get started with our icebreaker.
Yes. Oh boy, can't wait. So today we have my mom. This is Valerie. I don't know why, if it matters that her name is said or not, but whatever. Gosh, I should have thought this through. How am I going to introduce? You've been my mom for 28 years.
This is true. I almost had you in the
let's see.
back seat of a
You
Ford
did.
Taurus.
You
Yeah.
did. Great story.
Oh,
Came into the world with
yeah.
a bang, you know. Talk about icebreaker, like, hello, I am coming out in a car. What else? Let's see. My mom is an extrovert for sure, spoiler alert. So always been fun to have those dynamics. Let's see. Gosh, what should I don't even know. Oh my gosh. I should have prepared for this, man. This is
Now's
on
your
the spot. I
chance.
know.
It's okay. Like with the episode we did with Riley, as we talk, we'll get to know
sure.
your
Yeah.
mom more.
Yes.
So that's
Yes.
that's perfect. So
See, I'm just so used to me being the introvert and her being the extrovert that I'm like, I have to introduce her? What? It's
That's
so
awesome.
backwards.
I love
that's
it.
you know what, that's true. Role reversal here.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
All right, well, let's start out with our favorite icebreaker. Abbie,
Woohoo! I've been looking forward to the icebreaker.
I know the extrovert likes the icebreaker. Introvert
We
dreads
should
it.
have made the extroverts come up with the icebreakers. That's what we
I-
should have done.
That's true. That's true. All right. So, if you could be invisible for a day, what would you do?
Ooh, that's a good one.
If I
It's a
could
good one.
be invisible for the day.
Okay, I think I know. I have an answer.
Okay.
I would love to see like Randall at work, like at school as a teacher, and just watch him without him knowing, because I feel like if I was there, not that he would do anything majorly different, but just to see like him in his like dynamic talking to his coworkers. I'd also love to watch my children while someone else babysits them and see what that's really like. Basically just spy on people in my life.
That's a good one.
Yeah, when you mentioned that I always tease Jonathan, my oldest son, Abbie's older brother, that I'm going to show up at his work, and every 30-year-old man wants his mom to show up at work. So I could do that and he would never know. So that's what I think I might do.
That's a good
Sorry,
one.
John.
All right. Now, the would you rather. Okay. So, would you rather, let's say you're at an Italian restaurant. Would you rather eat your entire meal using only your hands or eat it with a fork, but after every single bite, you have to exclaim loudly how much you like the dish until you're finished?
I would eat with my hands.
Yeah.
I would. And also, if I knew ahead of time, obviously I'd just pick something that was easy to eat with my hands. But if not, I'm like, some cultures eat with their hands. It'd be fine. Just act natural.
Italian food though, like spaghetti and
Lasagna, pick it up like a
true.
sandwich. It'd be fine.
I think I could go either way. If like Abbie said, if I knew ahead of time and could kind of choose something to eat that fit that better, I would do that. But if it was like spaghetti or something, I just might do the exclaiming after every bite. And I'd invite you guys to come join me.
Oh boy.
As we
hiding
down
under the table.
Oh,
my
that's
gosh.
good. All right, well, let's get started with asking Valerie some questions. So first off, I think we know the answer to this one, but are you an introvert or an extrovert?
Yeah, I've been an extrovert. Well, I'm very much an extrovert. Anybody that knows me knows that. So my mother could tell many stories of when I was little. So yeah, I'm definitely an extrovert.
Yes. And when did you learn about introverts and extroverts?
The terms, probably my college days, and over time came to understand those terms more. I always think of the root meaning of them as an introvert gets their energy from being alone and an extrovert gets their energy from being with other people. And then I think you've touched on some of your episodes, that seems like there's different levels
Yeah.
outgoing introvert. And, we might touch on that a little bit. We talk about all my kids, but yeah. So I would say, around college years and then just over time. And obviously I've learned a great deal from your podcast. So
Hey, well,
Great
yay.
answer.
yes.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. How soon did you know that Abbie was an introvert?
Well, it's funny you should ask about that because I would have told you all through probably high school that she was more an extrovert.
Hmm.
So, and
Okay.
I wish I had understood her better sooner because I'm sure that I've scarred her emotionally. And I
gosh.
wish I could go back and redo a few things, but yeah, what I remember very clearly is when she would come home, she went out of state for college,
Mhm.
and both her and my older son were at school at the same time. They're just a grade apart. And whenever she came home, she disappeared into a room and got on her phone or on her computer and just, whereas as soon as he got home, he'd start calling his friends who's going to go out and do stuff with. And yet I would say Abbie maybe presents more outgoing, at least then, than Jonathan did. So,
And I
yeah.
think we've talked about it before, like being in a familiar environment and growing up like in small church, small school,
Mhm.
like knowing everyone. I
Yeah.
feel like had I, like gone to a big public high school,
That's
you may
true.
have seen it more.
That's true.
But just being in environments where you know people and you're
Mhm.
a little more comfortable may,
Yeah.
have someone present a little bit more that way. But that's interesting. I don't think I've ever
Oh, yeah.
heard you say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I can see how that would, the differences coming home in college and just being like,
You're exhausted. Yeah. And
Like,
what would
okay,
you,
bye.
well, and then I remember your first Thanksgiving.
Yes.
I mean, our first Thanksgiving, now granted, Thanksgiving and Christmas were pretty close together and
Mhm.
finances were tight. So she just said, well, I don't want to come home. I have realized what an introvert I am, and I just want to be by myself in the dorm room. And of course, for me, when I was in college, that would have been traumatic. I
It
would have
was
been,
such a fun week. I just remember like I deep cleaned everything. I went
yes.
to like the grocery store before and I got all the like planned out my meals and it was just like, okay, I'm just gonna spend a week by myself and it was glorious.
You did join us for Thanksgiving dinner, though. Do you remember?
Yes.
We set a computer up.
Old
Oh.
school.
Yes, in her spot, and she joined us for
Yeah.
that.
Aw.
So,
Pre-Zoom, pre all of that. It was
yeah.
just, yeah.
So,
Yep.
That got to be there, but not really have to
yeah,
Yeah.
ideal.
participate.
It was hilarious. There were so many moments where I'm like, everyone has definitely forgotten. I'm like aimed at a blank wall and no one's there. And I'm just like, oh guys, get here.
Oh, that is
awesome.
too funny. Love that.
Mhm.
All right.
Mm.
So are your other children introverts or extroverts? So you kind of touched on John.
Jonathan, yeah, my oldest, Jonathan, is an extrovert, but can be more quiet. So I wouldn't say is like, life of the party type. And then of course Abbie, maybe a little bit more outgoing. But I think as you've gotten older, that's changed.
Yeah.
But when you were younger, and then Benjamin, who's my third, there's a big age gap between Abbie and Ben, 10 years, is now you wouldn't have guessed this when he was little. I mean, the kid was crazy
Yeah.
and outgoing and funny and always in trouble. So if you would have asked me when he was 3, 4, 5, 6, I would have thought, oh, he's going to be, and he's my most introverted child. He's a lot like my husband, Amy's brother and Abbie's dad. They're very, very similar, extremely introverted.
Yeah.
So, and then Hannah is a lot like me. So, and one thought I've had is I had my childhood, there was a lot of trauma in my childhood. And even though I'm an extrovert, there's some unhealthiness, I think, because of some of that. So it's been interesting watching Hannah grow up in a fairly healthy environment and watch her extrovert develop with confidence. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, because I think our personalities are very much alike, but she has so much more confidence than I did when I was younger.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
interesting.
Yeah, I feel like our family has such an interesting dynamic, kind of like what you're saying. Like, I feel like I'm an introvert that looks like an introvert. Hannah, my sister, is an extrovert that looks like an extrovert. And then the boys are kind of like Ben is an introvert that looks like an extrovert. And then John is extra, like it's not as straightforward. So I feel like we have such a interesting variation in our family.
And I
Right.
don't think you can always tell when kids are little.
Right.
I
No,
think
no,
it develops a little bit later. I don't know if there's been studies on that or what
Yeah.
they say, but yeah,
definitely.
unless you're Riley. Riley's been an extrovert from day one.
She has, although she's
Yeah.
kind of becoming an
Mhm.
ambivert. We talked a little bit on the episode
Mhm.
we recorded with her. So, but yeah, and then yet I can definitely attest to Ben. Because Alex, my son, was very close with him, and yeah, Ben was just outgoing,
He was
and
just such a
he was,
ham. He was a little performer
yes,
24/7. Everyone loved Ben.
Yeah. He
and
was busy and he was bright, and
Yes.
it was a pretty rough combination at times. But he's turned
and
in such an amazing young
and
man.
just to
So
see how calm and cool he is now,
yes,
it's just very
yes.
interesting to
Yeah.
see that
Mhm.
change. And I mean, and he's still just pleasant as can be, but
Yeah.
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 So very, very cool.
Mhm.
Okay, so in your relationship with Abbie, what do you love about her being an introvert?
I've always felt like Abbie is pretty comfortable in her own skin, which is funny because she might say different from her perspective. But I've always appreciated that she could be like, well, yeah, I'm an introvert and it's okay. I don't need to be in the center of things and I'm okay with that. And I feel the same way, with Kirk.
Mhm.
Whereas I feel a lot more less confident in my extrovert.
Gotcha.
I wish that I always felt like, man, I'm always saying something, embarrassing myself. Oh, can I just be quiet and listen? And, I always think,
Meanwhile, sorry to interrupt.
oh, no.
Meanwhile, me and Amy are like, please come with us and do all the extrovert things. How many
Yeah.
times were you like, who was it? It was one of Alex's therapists,
Yes.
right?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
okay. So this is Valerie's superpower, and I am just in
Yes.
awe of it. So I am too, like, if I want to know something about somebody that maybe I just don't want to come right out and ask, I just don't ask, and I sit and wonder for years. And then Valerie can come up, meet that person, and within 10 minutes and ask in a way that's very like just a conversation, and the person talks about it, and then you find out in 10 minutes. And I'm like, I've been for 3 years wondering this thing, but
Amy,
I
did
won't
you know?
ask. So yes, if we want to know stuff, bring Valerie with you. And she does it in such a way, like I feel like
Yes.
when
So
I
casual.
ask,
Yeah.
it's just you just have such an ease. So I
I find that most people will talk about themselves if you ask the right questions. And I recognize people that aren't comfortable, but most will if you just ask,
yeah.
So yeah.
Well, it's I am in awe of how you do that, and it's just such a comfortable, easy thing where I'm just like,
Mm,
it's
yeah.
just so different for an introvert.
Yeah, definitely.
So we talked about what you love about her being an introvert. Now, what are some maybe challenges with having an introvert daughter,
Right.
introvert relationship?
Right. I can't, and Abbie may have a different perspective. From my end of things, I don't remember that bothering me when she was growing up. But I probably just kind of plowed over her and pushed her to be an extrovert, not realizing that, that's what I was doing. I think where I maybe struggle more as an adult, like if she'll say things like, I just really wish I had closer friends, or I had, and being an extrovert, I go, well, just reach out, get together with people, get to know them, all that. And I recognize, I don't understand, but I recognize that's much more challenging for her, and wanting things like that for her, and wanting,
Mhm.
push her in that way or whatnot. And that's probably the thing that's kind of hard from my perspective.
Gotcha.
Is, and I can say it's really not that hard. It's really easy, but of course that's my extrovert perspective on it.
Right, right. Because yeah, it is something that it comes naturally and easier
Yeah.
for someone with your personality and temperament. And yeah, for us, it
Yeah.
seems like just a huge task that
I remember one time my older son, because you've talked a little bit about the private school, that Christian
Mhm.
school that we've all worked at, and my poor kids didn't stand a chance, but I would substitute teach. And one time Jonathan just says to me, well, Mom, when you're on campus, I don't want you saying hi to my friends. And I would just be like, son, I said, that would be like me asking you to stand up and do a dance up on the stage. For me to walk by a
Mhm.
group of your friends and not say hi, I won't embarrass you, but I at least will say hi. So, yeah.
Yeah, that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Mhm.
Yeah, or the next question, I mean, we kind of talked about it, but how is parenting with an introvert? I mean, you kind
And I
of talked
realized
about
in this
it.
question I didn't specify I meant with dad, like being married to
Okay, right.
like parenting
Co-
together.
Okay,
parenting
okay,
together,
I see
yeah.
what you're
I
saying.
was reading
Yeah,
that question right now and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I should have specified, but yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and you guys touched on this when you talked about marriage. I mean, there's definite challenges when,
Mhm.
trying to understand. I remember the first time I really kind of got into the headspace of an introvert when Kirk explained to me what it feels like to him in a room
Mhm.
when being an introvert. And he was describing how paralyzing it feels and, um, and how I wouldn't be able to understand that because I'm very comfortable
Mhm.
in a room with people. I do find as I get older, I think I am more introverted than I used to be.
Mhm.
I'm very comfortable. But as far as us parenting together, that is a really good question. I mean, what's your perspective of a child of a very much
Right.
introvert extrovert?
I like when you first describe it, when you talk about even like Amy and Niles too, having those two like a really, pretty extreme on both sides, really extroverted or really introverted. I feel like your brain immediately goes to this like, oh, you guys are just gonna like clash on so many things. But I feel like,
Mhm.
but that's again my like knee jerk reaction. But being in that, it's like it was such a good balance of like you had both, like
Mhm.
if you're going to go out and do stuff, you have a parent who's like, yeah. And if like, I feel like as a family, especially once we were probably when we were like in high school, college, and still living at home,
Mhm.
the younger kids, enough where we'd go do stuff like as a family. If there's times that like, hey, dad's going to stay home. Do you want to stay
Yes.
with him? Come with me. Like there was just that easy. It wasn't like, we're doing this as a family and we're going. Like there was the
Mhm.
comfortability on both and, but not limiting, your extroverted kids and not
Mhm.
like having those opportunities, but just having like a good
Mhm.
balance in that.
Yeah, I think we probably right at first it bothered me because
Mm.
when Kirk and I got married, we moved to his hometown. All of his friends, all of his family, everybody knew him and I didn't know anybody. I mean, one of my best memories is early in our marriage, we went to a wedding of all of his people and he left for an hour and was like, I'm
Wow.
done. And I'm like, I mean, it didn't traumatize me. I did fine, but I just remember thinking, what the heck? So I think
That would have traumatized an introvert.
yeah,
Say.
yeah, totally. So I just found that was funny. But I think early on I was more like, yeah, you should come with me more. And then I started realizing, you know what? Honestly, sometimes I have more fun when he's not with me.
Yeah.
Because he's not having fun and I'm all worried because he's not having fun. And it's like, you know what? You stay home. And especially with the age gap in our kids, a lot of the sporting events and the activities, I would go with the older two and Kirk would stay home with the littles. And
Perfect.
that worked. We were both very,
Yeah.
very happy with that. So we worked. Matter of fact, I know that Jonathan's one of his baseball teams, they thought we were divorced together. It was either one or the other.
So
Oh,
funny.
that
So
is funny.
yeah.
Oh
So yeah.
my
We made
goodness.
it work, I think.
Yeah. I think you learn, like we talked about in our marriage episode, you learn how to kind of involve both of those parts of yourselves in your relationship.
Mhm.
And even more so with parenting. I think Randall and I, and I'm sure you and Niles, Amy have,
Mhm.
kind of figured that out too. You just kind of
Mhm.
figure out, who's going to do what. And
Mhm.
it's kind of that, I don't like the word compromise, but I see it as like,
Well,
when
focusing
one
on your
is
strength.
yeah,
Yeah.
when one
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
like, oh, it's not quite there, then the other one takes
Mhm.
over and you work
Mhm.
together. Yeah.
Definitely. No, yeah, we do. And we complement each other a
That's
lot.
what it
Yes.
is. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. Definitely.
Mhm.
All right. Any other ways or anything else you want to add or talk about how introversion, affects your relationship?
Yeah. I feel like as I've gotten older, because I definitely was like a stupid teenager and being an introvert on top of that and just being like, oh my gosh, leave me alone. I just want to be in my room and watch Netflix. Like as I've gotten into adulthood, like definitely our relationship has changed a lot and it's grown and it's been fantastic. And it just was, I totally remember I used to work a night shift, my first nursing job. I was working night shift and I would get off at like 7:30 in the morning and like I had a 20-minute drive home. And I think every morning I would call my mom on the way home. And then I like one day I was like, oh, wow, like when did that start happening? So I think,
Mhm.
I really think college and distance was the best
Mhm.
thing for us.
Mhm.
And just then being able to, for me, it was like just natural, casual, like being on the phone or when I was home, like, oh, hey, I'm going to run to the grocery store. I'm like, oh, I'll tag along. And just kind of what you and Riley had talked about, just being in the same space for me was like, okay, cool, we're hanging out. And if you were fulfilling something that you wanted to go do, it just like that balance became really natural and easy, but it didn't feel like a push to like, oh, let's go do these things. Like you're an extrovert that allows introverts to just exist around you. And I feel like being married to Dad has probably prompted that. But yeah, I feel like that's been a really cool thing to see.
Yeah, I would never have guessed when Abbie was in high school that we would be as close as we are now. I
Yeah.
really wouldn't. Now, I don't know if that was an extrovert introvert thing. I mean, sure, that probably played into it.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why, but whether someone advised me to, or I had the wisdom to just back off and give her space.
Yeah.
Because of my childhood and not having a close relationship with my mom, I wanted that with Abbie really bad. And I had a vision that we'd have this really close mother-daughter relationship. And when it wasn't seeming that way, like I said, I don't know, maybe it was just the Lord. I backed off. She had a lot of great women that were involved in her life, high school teachers, and
Mhm.
I'd periodically check in with them. How do you feel like Abbie's doing? And they were always, when she went away to college, I really tried to give her space and not, text a lot or call a lot. And I think that helped her get some independence and then
Mhm.
reciprocate. And I think we're really close
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't, if you would ask me in high school if we would have been, I just figured no, we're probably not
Yeah.
gonna
High
be.
school Abbie would be like, would be shocked because now it's like, oh, we haven't talked in like 2 days and we'll just call each other like, hey, nothing's going on, but we haven't, like, this is weird. We
Yeah.
haven't seen each other,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So that
Right.
would be my encouragement to mother and daughters is just recognizing that and giving your kids their space, and it's
Mhm.
hard because we have Life 360. We know where they're at. We can text all the time. When I went away to college, I called my parents once a week.
Yeah.
You got on the payphone and Sunday
Right.
afternoons. And so we are a little bit used to having that constant access, to them. And so I'm grateful that that's how it played out. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Funny thing you say payphone, it reminded me when you were ready or when you were pregnant with Abbie and you went to the doctor. I was going to MJC at the time and I'd heard you went in the morning, I had no idea you'd be delivering her.
Blowing out a baby.
So I remember going in the student center at the payphone
Yeah.
to call home to see how it was going. And that's when I found out, well,
Do we need to tell that story really quick?
I
Are people
think
going to
so.
wonder about
Do
the
it, do
Abbie
it,
birth
yes.
story?
You tell it any chance you get, and I love it.
I do. I love
before
it.
you
It's a
tell
great
it, when I was
story.
in labor with my son, it was a long labor, and every staff member in the building heard that story. But like as labor and delivery nurses, that's what we live for. So it was great
Yes.
hearing it over
I
and
mean,
over
it's
again.
a good
So
story. It's a good
It
story.
is a good story. It is a good story. So, Abbie and Jonathan are 20 months apart. So my delivery with him was fairly quick. I mean, for a first baby and a big baby. But I woke up in the morning. I was probably a week early full term. And I thought, oh, I think maybe Kirk and I went for a walk. Maybe something's going to happen today. So we took Jonathan over to Amy's parents, Abbie's grandparents, and headed to the doctor. And we get in there and we're sitting in the waiting room. And I do have a couple really hard contractions. But my thought was, I don't want to scare all these women in here that are pregnant because I'm such an expert at having babies, right? Because I've had one. And that was my thought. So I just tried to be really quiet and breathe through it. And we were probably sitting there for about an hour. And then by that time, my really good friend Lisa came, who was with me for all my deliveries. And she's just kind of, Kirk, I think you better go, see what's going on. And they had misplaced my file. So they'd kind of forgotten
back in the
about
paper
me.
days,
Yeah.
chart slipped down.
And I remember they called me back. I get up and I had one really hard contraction in the hallway. And then I go into the room and she wanted me to go to the bathroom and I had another one in the bathroom. And then I came in and got up on the bed in the examining room and she examined me. She goes, "You're a 9 and your water's about ready to break," and she panicked. So the midwife went out of the room. And then she told Kirk, "You better go get the car." So Kirk left the room. So I'm in there by myself.
Man.
So I climbed off the table and am trying to put my panties and my shorts on. And Kirk had said something to my friend Lisa. She was in the waiting room. He didn't say anything. He just said, you might want to go help her. So she has no idea what's going on. So she walks into the room. The door's wide open. I'm crying as I'm trying to and she's trying to ask me, I just want to have the baby at the hospital. I don't want it. And they brought a wheelchair in to me, put me in a wheelchair, and they'd sent Kirk for the car. Well, it was in his crazy mind, he parked the car at the bottom of a staircase. So, of course, the wheelchair can't go down the stairs. So, and at that point, the midwife looks at me and she goes, well, what do you want me to do? I said, I want you to ride with me. So we got in the back seat of a Ford Taurus, and my friend Lisa drove us to the hospital. We went around the block. We honked at Kirk because he was in the wrong place. So he followed us to the hospital. About halfway there, all of a sudden, I'm like, I gotta push. And Lisa always says that the midwife, she was in the back seat with a basin, everything ready to deliver in the car. And she said the midwife's eyes just got like sausage, like, ah! And so we pull into the hospital parking lot. My water broke at that point. So we park on the red curb. Kirk's in front of us. She hands the doctor hands him his little pass. They'd called ahead, said we were coming. So he runs in. My wife's having a baby in the car. And they're trying to decide whether are we going to do this in the back seat, or are we going to get inside? And she tells me, I kept repeating, I want to have a healthy baby at the hospital. So I got out of that car, literally nothing from the waist on in the parking lot at the hospital. But I didn't care. I didn't care.
Oh, nothing mattered.
No, they brought a wheelchair, and my friend Lisa thought to put a blanket on me. So she put it around my waist. They wheeled me in and literally sat me on the table, and she was out. And then she ended up she had some pneumonia, was in the hospital for a week and a half. So she could have been sick. That's why she came quick, or because she came quick. But then what was funny is our cars were on the curb with all of our purses and stuff in them. And some friends of mine were going to take me away for the day to a tea house up in the mountains.
Which I love, because as a labor and delivery nurse, I'm like, Mom, you were going to go on a trip at like 38 weeks pregnant? Like, they would have been delivering me in like a freaking cabin. Story could have been so much worse.
And one of my friends was like, man, that would have been so cool. And I'm like, yeah, for you. So finally they think to come to the hospital, and they don't know what's going on. They see all of our cars on the red curb, purses in there. So they take the purses out, they close the doors, they come into the labor and delivery room, and they find Lisa, and Lisa just starts sobbing. Was it, the baby's okay? So anyway, yep. So when Abbie was little, I would tell her, you were just in such a hurry to get here that,
I was.
So. Well, it's funny because, Abbie's an introvert, and she was just rushing to get out.
Exactly.
My daughter Riley took her sweet time, and
yes,
she always
did.
says, I just wanted to say goodbye to everyone in there.
That's funny. I like that. That's a good
hilarious.
one. Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
Oh, that's good. Well, what a story. Oh man, I remember that too. I mean, hearing it, not having any clue I was going to have a new niece that day, but
yes. Yeah. It was awesome.
All right. Well, this has been a fun interview, but we can't end until we do our awkward moments of the week. So, or awkward moments recently.
Yeah, my mom was like, what should I tell? And I told her what story, because she was telling me this story. Her, me, and my dad, we have not laughed that hard collectively in years. We were just doubled over. The story is fantastic.
I don't know. You're setting it up. It might not seem so funny.
It's so funny.
So, to precursor, it had been a really, really long day. A lot had transpired that day. And my very, very best friend had moved, and I was going to go drop some stuff off. And she said, well, could you pick up some dinner for me and my family? And I heard her say Taco Bell. So, and she was going to text me her order. So I head over to Taco Bell, and I thought, I'm not going to go through the drive-thru. I'm going to go in. So I go in, and I've got the phone in my hand, and I'm reading the order to these gals. And the first thing I say, they're like, oh, I'm trying to remember. It was carne asada, something or other. And they're like, well, we don't have carne asada. And I said, well, she found all this stuff on the app, the Taco Bell app. Maybe there was something else. So we're just trying to communicate with each other. So finally I call my friend, and I put her on speaker, because I'm just like, I don't know what to do. And then Lisa's like, well, I see this and then all of a sudden Lisa goes, Valerie, are you at Del Taco? Taco Bell. So the gals are there on speaker, Lisa's there, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, I am
Oh, that
so embarrassed. So anyway,
that's a
I
good
just picture
one.
my poor exhausted mom
oh.
looking like a crazy lady at Taco Bell. They're like, what are you talking
And I'm just
about?
so wanting to help my friend out, and I'm trying to explain to her. I'm sure that, anyway,
Oh
yeah.
my
Oh my
goodness.
gosh.
That
I'm
is
sure they laughed
so
about that.
funny. That's a
Oh,
good one.
Yeah.
oh
All
man.
right. Abby,
Okay,
do you have
so
one?
I do.
Okay.
So I usually go when I'm at work, I drive to like fast food and grab something for lunch. I sit and eat in my car.
Yeah.
And side tangent, places do not have trash cans outside of them anymore. I don't know if you've noticed that, but I used like I'm like, okay, I finished my lunch and I'm like, where the heck is a trash can? And there's a shopping center where I'll go. There's a couple different places. I think I'd gone to Taco Bell that day, and McDonald's is the only one that has trash cans. So I'm like, okay, finish my food, drive back over to McDonald's. I have all my stuff in the car. So I pull up, there's like 3 or 4 trash cans outside. I pull up like next to the trash can because I'm like, all right, I'm lazy. I don't want to turn off my car and grab my phone and keys. I'm gonna leave it running, within arm's reach there. So I go, the trash can is like broken. So I'm like, shoot. And then I see one across the way. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna drive. I'm like, again, stupid. I could probably just lock my car, but I get back in my car, I drive over to this other trash can. I go to put my trash in there. That one's like over full. I had to go to the 4th trash can. So I am driving like 2 parking spots to each of these trash cans trying to find one. And I'm like, the security footage probably looks ridiculous. And again, I could have just locked up my car and grabbed my stuff, but I'm like, oh no, I'll just go to that one. And then I'm like, oh nope, I'll just go to that. So
See, your mom trained you
Oh.
your mom trained you so well that
To
you're
throw.
throwing your trash away. That's
Aw.
awesome.
yes,
That's funny.
that'll be the moral of that story. But
That's
yeah, it was rough.
Oh, those are good. All right. And then the last part, recommendations. What have you got? You can recommend absolutely anything.
Do you want me to start? Since I
Yes,
know
you
mine?
start. Yeah.
So I have been going through and watching just like random movies. I'll see like a clip of it on TikTok and I'm like, oh, I've never seen this. I want to watch it, like old classic movies or whatever. But to keep track of them, there's an app called Q. It's Queue or however you spell that. And you can put like movies, TV shows, whatever, you put them on a list. And then if you put in which like streaming services you have, you can filter it by that. Or like when I click a movie, it says, oh, it's on, you can rent it on this or it's free on Amazon Prime or whatever. And you can like do what I'll do, because I have a bunch of movies on there, is you can just like spin a wheel and it randomly selects one for you. So then I'm like, okay, there's my next movie. But I feel like I actually watch a bunch of these movies that I've, like I think about and I'm like, oh, I should watch that. And then I go to sit down and watch something and I'm like, what am I going to watch? So
That sounds good.
yeah, I really
so
like it.
cool. I'm going to check that out too.
Say what it is
Awesome.
again.
It's called Q.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, we'll link
Awesome.
it in the show notes.
Yeah, we'll put it in
yeah.
the show notes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
How about you,
Awesome.
Valerie? You got anything to recommend?
I thought about the book. I read that same one that you mentioned by Kristin Hanna. Didn't you recommend that a couple podcasts back? Women.
I'm not sure if
maybe you didn't recommend that one.
I recommended that one.
I feel like it was a different one. I don't remember.
Okay, so there we go. There's my recommendation.
hey,
I read
perfect.
her most recent book called Women, and it's set in the Vietnam War, and women that were nurses. So she's a good author, and it just really gave insight into that war in general, that people came back from the war and were very disrespected. And then to be a woman, I mean, the main character's dad wouldn't even tell people that she was in the war, and what she saw was horrific. But I would really recommend that book. It was a really good read. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on our podcast. And
thanks for having me. I'm so proud of you guys. I do. I love your podcast. I love listening, and you're doing an awesome
And you
job.
recommend it a lot. I feel like a lot of people have listened to it because
I do, because I'm an extrovert.
Valerie gets the word out.
That's
awesome. Well, we appreciate that a lot, and we're having some fun.
And I always say, with extroverts and introverts, we need each other.
We do.
Extroverts need somebody to listen to them talk, and I think it's such a beautiful thing when it works the way it's supposed to.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, we will be back with another episode soon. And thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.